I picked this up about a week ago. It's an R34 four-door sedan. So just a little bit of a project to start me off. You know, I've had cars before where I've just bought them and they're all ready to go, but I really wanted to do something kind of different this time. You know, start it from the bottom and really build something up that I can say that I've put together myself. A few little bits and pieces lying around, but it's definitely a big job. No engine, no gearbox. It originally came from Japan as an import. So it's originally an auto NA RV25. So it will be you know, turbo manual, ready to go for the track. Good little car for that. You know, it's one of those things where it's obviously had a hit before, so it will be a good little car to be able to send and not have to worry about, you know, damaging corners and, you know, smashing up the front, because it has been done before. It's not going to be like my precious little baby where it's, you know, oh, I've got to take care of it, don't want to damage anything. It is a good car, which is what I've wanted for a while. Like I was saying, I've had heaps of cars where I bought them right off the bat, ready to go, you know, go really fast in a straight line, but when it comes to having a bit of fun, you always hold back because you don't want to, you know, you don't want to damage your baby, and that's what it comes down to. So a little bit of background on the car. The guy I bought it off, it was sitting in his garage for a few months. He had the plans of restoring it as well and using it as a track car. He just never got the time to do it, so it just sat there. He did do a bit of a paint job on the engine bay, so it's just a nice little purple. Probably will have to be redone at some stage. Like you could see, there's a bit of damage on this front corner, and this was what wrote the car off in the first place. It is a repairable write-off. That means the car it will see the road again at some stage, but it has to be approved by our transport department before it can go back on the road. So a lot of work involved to get this back on the road. Part of the headlight cage there, it will need a front chop of another 34, probably from strut towers back, so straight through here, cut straight across off another 34, chop these bits and pieces off and weld it back on. Chassis rails are intact, so that's why the car can go back on the road at some stage. So it does have fuse box, got all the engine loom and body loom, little bits and pieces missing. I don't know what he's chopped off and what he hasn't chopped off. It's got all these bits and pieces, you know, body control modules up in there. It's missing its ECU. Steering's all there, ignition barrel. Majority of the door is there. A few little bits and pieces missing. This one's got the door loom, so that makes that a lot easier. Passenger door is missing that loom, so trying to source bits and pieces for that at the moment. Center console's all gone. Most of the dash is missing, but there's the rest of the engine loom all tucked away there, so we could paint it. Dash is in all right condition, needs a bit of a clean up. Rear seats are all in there, and like I was saying, little bits and pieces. Seat belts are all here, they all work. Mirrors, you know, all interior pieces. Obviously that's the old auto parts, we won't need that anymore. And it's good because I can sell a whole heap of bits and pieces that I do get rid of, that I don't need anymore. You know, auto transmission stuff I won't be needing, so I can sell off all that kind of stuff. I bought this for an absolute steal. So I paid $400 for the shell, and that came as it was. So it came on the wheels. So it's got 3 of these nice mast wheels. So they only got 3. So got one stocky and got given another stocky spare. So at some stage it's going to need an extra wheel. All the tires are pretty shot, but it does have all the suspension there. So it's got the steering rack, steering column, steering wheel, strut brace, pretty much everything underneath. So missing a few little bits and pieces, but it's got, you know, all its brakes are there, all the flexi lines are there. It is missing the brake hard lines, ABS unit, cross members in there, power steering lines are all in there. It's just a lot of the brake lines are missing. Front and rear coilovers. Picked up a set of Bilstein front and rear coilovers for $50. So I just swapped in the old rears because it did have R32 GTR rears. So they were no good. Obviously the R32s are a fork setup, where these are just a flat circle setup. So it doesn't actually fit on these. So really dodgy kind of setup. And I'll just put a picture in there. Yeah, so as you can see, it's a fork. And that just was sitting on top of the bolt. So when it's up in the air on a hoist and you shake that wheel, it's not connected whatsoever. It's just so it can sit there and look pretty. Went and got a set of Bilsteins, put those in, put those on. Don't have any more issues now. Might be able to see. Yeah, so there's the Bilstein coilovers in the rear. You know, most of it's here. Exhaust hangers and stuff are all sitting around. It did come with a diff and both of its rear shafts. Pop the boot here. It does have a diff, gearbox cross member, no lining in the boot. It's got the factory jack. Does need a bit of work in the back, missing its fuel pump. As far as it's got so far, I've managed to source a boot for it. Really hard to find these 4-door boots. There's a lot of coupe boots going around. I made the mistake of buying one of those. Obviously it didn't fit, so I had the drama of having to send that back, but picked this one up for an all right price. In pretty good condition, has a wing on it. It's got the factory emblems all still on there in good condition. It's got the locking mechanism, so I can play around with that and get the locks working again. Front seats were something I had to buy. It didn't come with front seats, so I picked up a set of those out of an R30 coupe that's been wrecking. Good thing about the coupes and sedans is that all the interior bits, most of them, do transfer between the two. Obviously the doors are a bit different, but all of your seats, your dash components, center consoles, all of that will convert over, so you can use both of those. Here's a few bits and pieces that I have picked up off that sedan wrecking. So I've got the center console piece. This is the auto cluster out of this car. That's the battery loom which runs down to the alternator, starter, and to the gearbox. So had to chop that off the other one, which was good fun on the ground. We've got a brake pedal out of a R33. So a lot of the components from the R33 under the body are the same as the R34. So your brake masters, brake boosters, brake pedals, clutch masters are all transferable. So I picked these up, like you can see there, just from a wrecker. It's an R33 clutch pedal. So I managed to pick that up with the clutch master for quite cheap. And all of those will just bolt straight in. It was auto from the factory. I did find out from the guy who I bought it off that at one stage it was manual converted. It does actually have the cutout for the clutch master cylinder. So it makes my job a lot easier. I can just bolt it straight in. I know it's all gonna fit and work because it has been done before. And it does make me think that a bit of the loom in here has been chopped and had little bits and pieces of the manual loom put onto it. So hopefully when I source a manual box and engine, I should be able to just chuck it straight in and plug it all up and it should go. Definitely a lot of work to be done. Different color panels everywhere. Some stage it will get painted, like I was saying. It's just gonna be a track car, it's not a priority at the moment. But yeah, a lot of work to be done. This is my first 34, first Skyline in fact, so I don't know a heap about the Skylines. I'm learning more and more every day, but there's a lot to learn. And you could, if it was on a WRX or something, which is what I currently own, I've rebuilt that. I know exactly where each connection goes, how it should all be sitting. So it's quite simple for that, but when it's a brand new engine, a brand new car, everything's so different. And obviously it's a bit older again. This is a 1998 model. So my WRX 2003, not a huge difference, but it's to the point where it's, okay, this is a bit different the way these work. You get to pick up on those kinds of things. So you know that, this connection should be for that. I've seen that before somewhere kind of thing. So hopefully it won't be too bad, but gonna get stuck into it, do some wiring work today, plug it all in, get the battery going, get some charge on it, and hopefully it all starts. So this is another 34 that we picked up last Saturday. So this one was a repairable write-off as well. This is a sunroof model. So obviously it's pretty banged up. The bonnet flicked up while it was driving, the latch failed and caused a heap of damage to the roof. So it's going to be a lot of work to fix this. We decided we'll just cut the front end off and stick it onto that one there, just to save us the drama of having to fix the roof and supply a new sunroof. So the footage that was at the start of the video was just pulling this one apart on a bit of a time lapse, just when we first got it back to strip out the interior and get everything in order. So the good thing about this one, it's got a lot of the interior pieces that we did need. All the stuff that we were missing is in this car. So we'll just be pulling out what we need interior wise. So there's a few parts from the doors that we'll need, a couple of regulators, part of the door, and we'll swap all of that stuff into our other 34, which is just under the cover there. Have ordered another cover for this one, which is on the way soon. So yeah, I'm just going to chuck in some footage of us going through and pulling out some bits and pieces. Jumping forward about a week, this is another 34 I've purchased. So this one's a 4-door like the other one, but it's a sunroof model. The bonnet actually flew up when it was on the motorway, and the bonnet's come back, scraped across the top, smashed the roof, put a few dents in it. It's a bit of a better view up here. You can see where it's dented in on the roof there. So quite a bit of damage that has to be fixed on it. That's why I made the decision that we'll just pull out what we need from it. So we'll pull the bits out, take what we need, and then we'll probably just either scrap this or sell it on to someone else. Good little project for someone else if they do want to keep going with it. We've just since we already had the other one here, it makes more sense to us to keep using the other one, which has already got the bits in it. We've already put all the pedals and stuff like that in. We've already done the work, so may as well keep going with it and just use bits off this to complete our one. And on a bit of a further inspection, we pulled the side skirts off this particular one. It had these fiberglass side skirts on it. And the cell's just been absolutely shattered to bits, and cut the front end off this one. So original plan was to use this car as the main kind of body, because it does have most of the stuff here. So it's, you know, power steering, res, ABS modules all there. Most of the wiring's here, hard lines, AC stuff. A lot of it is here. And there's a big stack of interior bits that we have pulled out so far. So the airbags, AC controls, roof lining, floor mats. Boot lining's all in this one, majority of it. All the doors are there, door panels, window regulators. So there's plenty of pieces in this particular one. And so this is a good kind of step for us, so we can actually look at the wiring and figure out what goes where in our other car. And we've got someone coming in the next week or so to cut the front end off this car, and they'll be welding it back onto the other one. We managed to get that done quite cheap, so we'll get all that done, put the thing back together. And this Saturday we are going to be picking up another car which has an engine and box in it, so we'll be putting that in, and that'll definitely help us out a lot. So pretty much for the rest of today I'm just going to pull out most of the stuff in the front here just to help the guy who's going to be cutting it all up. So, you know, pull out the condenser, move the wiring back to get the fender off, just so he has some room, and it saves me a bit of money so he doesn't have to pull that off himself. We're going to pull out the condenser, so I'll get that out, pull out the receiver dryer, all the AC components. I'll pull those out of the front so they're out of the way. It looks like it has been hit before. You can see there's a little bit of a bend in it, so it has had some impact at some stage. So we'll pull that out, put that aside, pull the latch out. That assembly will come out. We do have a few of those now, so plenty of spare bits going around, which is always good. It's just going to save me some money and make the job easier for my mate who's going to be fixing it up. So I just pulled off majority of the stuff on the front. It looks like this car's had a front collision at some stage. So there's the front breaker with the horns, had a few wires coming off it, so they've all been taken off. So there's the bonnet stay, got the coolant overflow tank out. This was something to do with the brake lines. I don't know what exactly that is, but it's more of the AC stuff, the receiver dryer. So that's most of the stuff out from the front. Headlight wires need to come out. Bonnet latch, just pull through. I'll pull this big chunk of loom through here and just tuck that out of the way for now. And then, yeah, that's most of it out of the front, so I'll just pull that wiring out. Cheers for watching, guys. Fair bit of work to be done. This will be a part series, so there'll be a bit more coming soon. I've got another car on the way this Saturday, so that'll be with an engine in it. That's a stat write-off, so it can't be registered, but we're using it to strip out the engine and gearbox and all the interior pieces, like the loom and stuff. So we'll pull all of that out and put it into our end product under the cover there. But yeah, keen to get into it, and yeah, looking forward to it.